talk about how Sydney Sweeney is a relationship-destroying evil genius.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to call her evil, but she kind of is an evil mastermind. Sydney Sweeney was the evil mastermind behind this marketing campaign for her recent rom-com with Glenn Powell, Anyone But You. And they recently did an interview with the New York Times where they confirmed all of this. So if you don't remember, at the time, there were a ton of rumors going around that Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney, despite both of them being in relationships at the time, that they were having an affair with each other as co-stars on set of this rom-com. Because they kept posting all of these videos on social media.
They're looking a little cutesy, and they're touching each other a little bit too much.
They were getting a little bit like up close and personal and hanging all over each other and stuff like that.
There's a $20 one right there.
That Stanzatastic said, forgive me if you already answered this, but I'm having a Billie Eilish moment. When is the new All That Remains music coming out?
Could be any day now.
You will find out more information very soon.
And you know what Sydney Sweeney has mastered? Think to what we were talking about just yesterday about the video of Johnny Depp pushing the phone charger towards Camille Vasquez. It leans into this weird side aspect of internet culture that loves to like read into things. It's kind of the trope where it's like they show you the video, but certain parts are slowed down to emphasize it more.
And then dramatic music.
It really is a masterclass in how to manipulate emotions.
The way he looked at
editing.
her, all of that stuff.
Yes. And there's people that do this in nefarious ways too, where I've seen them like a college professor is asked a question by a girl and in a classroom or something like that, and somebody's recording it, they don't even explain why, and then they slow down like when the college professor looks back at the girl to make it look like he was looking at her for a longer period of time to make him look creepy.
Yeah, it can be deceptive at times, but it turns out the rumors about Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney having an affair with each other were all just a bunch of BS, and Sydney Sweeney was playing into it in order to sell the movie.
Here's this, I'm literally picturing her. She's like, okay, hold this pose. Hold this pose. Smile, Glenn.
And you know, think about it. When was the last time that in Hollywood you could see two hot, in shape, white young people just being in love? That's not really something that is allowed in Hollywood these days.
I mean, it's not something that they really talk about or think about or even really describe.
But then the movie outperformed what anyone guessed it would. It did really well at the box office, and we're like, okay, do it again.
Here's that video. Let's look at the.
That video is exactly what ended Glenn Powell's relationship.
He's a genius. Let's refresh it and see if we can start it over here. There.
If you open the tweet, it might work.
Oh, watch on X. It's gonna end up opening it from. Oh!
Yeah, that is the video that ended it all.
His supermodel girlfriend saw that. She's like, I saw where your hand went in her back. We are done.
Exactly. So at the time, Glenn Powell was engaged during the filming of Anyone But You to a supermodel.
Of course.
And as all of these posts were getting circulated, she started to post some shady stuff on her Instagram. She wasn't happy about
this photo too. She's like, hold that pose.
The way that she looks at him
longingly.
The way that she looks at him, right? But yeah, before the movie even came out, Glenn Powell's fiance broke up with him over this. And I think it was over this. It's not confirmed, but it's pretty safe to guess that it was Sydney Sweeney's fault ultimately, although she is still happily engaged to her fiance, who was a producer on the movie. Sydney Sweeney's fiance actually benefited from all of this because he was one of the producers. So here's what Glenn Powell said in this recent interview. The two things that you have to sell a rom-com are fun and chemistry. Sydney and I have a ton of fun together, and we have a ton of effortless chemistry. That's people wanting what's on the screen, off the screen, and sometimes you just have to lean into it a bit, and it worked wonderfully. Sydney is very smart. And
chemistry is a huge part of Hollywood. That's kind of a taboo thing to talk about.
It's lost on them now.
So I remember this story where Stana Kotick, who played Beckett in Castle, would talk about how she had to keep coming back for screen tests to do the show, to get the starring role. And like the day she went to like chemistry test with Nathan Fillion, like they gave her this outfit to wear, and she said that it looked horrible and she needed to cut the dress shorter. And she basically said, "Hey, come over here and hold this. And basically, like, ordered him around, and like he loved that, like because her character commanded that same type of energy, and they didn't even really need to do the screen test after that because their natural chemistry before they even did it meant that it worked. And there's stuff like that in Hollywood all the time.
Sydney Sweeney said, I was on every call. I was in text group chats. I was probably keeping everybody over at Sony Marketing and Distribution awake at night because I couldn't stop with ideas. I wanted to make sure that we were actively having a conversation with the audience as we were promoting the film, because at the end of the day, they're the ones who created the entire narrative.
Yep. Think and in the chat, I wanna thank Dustin here for being exactly right. Otherwise, if you go the other direction and you don't get chemistry, Dustin points out you get Amber Heard and Jason Momoa, who might as well be on opposite ends of the ocean in Aquaman because they have exactly
it can
zero
really
chemistry.
Hurt a movie.
A lot of movies and shows suffer greatly from actors. Like a lot of times somebody will point it out to me and then I'll rewatch something. I'm like, oh yeah, they had like no chemistry at all.
Did Johnny Depp and Amber Heard have
I didn't see that
good
movie.
on-screen chemistry? I would be really interested to see. But like Sydney Sweeney, she is the definition of a Gen Z actress with natural sex appeal and not just being beautiful. On the other hand, you have Anne Hathaway, who is notoriously beautiful but sexless.
Look, you go watch The Dark Knight Rises and you see her like get almost there.
And she's so attractive. It's
She's
just
beautiful.
so puzzling. And she is actually marketing her own rom-com right now called The Idea of You.
I forgot about this one. We talked about this one.
She is playing a woman in her 40s who is dating a guy like 20 years younger than her in this one, dating a pop star. And she was in a new interview promoting this rom-com, and she revealed that back in the 2000s, they had gross chemistry tests that were, I guess they were objectifying and sexist. She said, back in the 2000s, and this did happen to me, it was considered normal to ask an actor to make out with other actors to test for chemistry, which is actually the worst way to do it.
Can I ask what is actually fundamentally different about asking them to do it to see if it will work on camera than actually just asking them to do it on camera?
Wait,
it's
what?
still, they're both part of your job. What makes it, I'm actually asking, if doing it on camera for a movie isn't gross, how is doing this to make sure that you got the right actor for the job gross?
She might have been worried about herpes or something. I don't know. She said, I was told we have 10 guys coming in today in your cast. Aren't you excited to make out with all of them? And I thought, is there something wrong with me?
Perhaps there's another way you can test for chemistry. Like maybe at this point you're just testing on the mechanics and you're not testing actual chemistry.
10 guys is a lot of guys.
Like,
she
maybe
said,
just find another way to do it other than that type of physical interaction. See how you interact personally.
I wasn't excited. I thought it sounded gross. I was young and terribly aware how easy it was to lose everything by being labeled difficult, so I just pretended I was excited and got on with it. It wasn't a power play. No one was trying to be awful or hurt me. It was just a very different time. And now we know better. Mm. But do we know better, or have we just gotten much worse at making and marketing romantic comedies?
You wouldn't say that they know better because the romantic comedies haven't gotten better. They've gotten worse.
Rom-coms died in the meantime that we've all learned better. Mm-hmm. So maybe we actually didn't learn anything.
It just means that you need a little bit of edge to make something in this realm because the relationship between the sexes is often gray and not so clean cut. Mm-hmm. The things that make those stories interesting are inherently difficult to tell, stories to tell from a human resources perspective.
Oh, by the way, recently, I think this was just yesterday, The Guardian accidentally posted a tweet about Anne Hathaway, titled it, "Anne Hathaway is a secret gooner and now her reinvention is complete."
Yeah.
7.5 million views. So
Anne
I guess
Hathaway
they win.
is a secret gooner.
That's what they said.
So she and that means that she's so that she's a masturbator.
I think it might be a slang term for like a soccer team fan base.
Arsenal.
Is it Arsenal?
Oh, okay.
Like Arsenal fans are called that. I don't know. Just thought that was funny and I wanted to mention it. But I've also seen a lot of discourse about this couple of co-stars on Bridgerton. Bridgerton has a ton of sex scenes to the point where a lot of people said it's just excessive. But these two co-stars have been teasing like the idea that they're in a relationship, probably to copy the Sydney Sweeney Glenn Powell method. And this one person said these two broke furniture while filming sex scenes.
I can think of a reason why some of the furniture got broke.
Yeah, maybe half of the furniture. Stayed under sheets naked after filming and didn't want to get up. Didn't hear the director yell cut, so they kept going at it in a carriage for longer than necessary. They are actually insane. And you can see these pictures of them. They are clearly trying to sell some kind of image.
All I read when I hear this is a bunch of executives saying that this is a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Is that the reason why like the chemistry has to be organic? You can't try to sell a PR relationship because it might go wrong.
Yeah.
It presents like a legal liability.
Until 10 years from now when Sydney Sweeney's like, actually, Glenn touched me inappropriately on that set. And
right, who knows? But like are PR relationships, do you think they're all that common?
Yes, I do.
Like more common than not?
I think that 90% of Hollywood is fake behind the scenes too. Just the stuff we hear about how they call TMZ to show up to the.
I don't think the relationships are that much fake. I think that I think what happens is people in Hollywood tend to be around people in Hollywood.
Okay.
So they end up dating people that are.
And it's beneficial that they date each other, but they're around each other anyway.
I don't think that studios would not capitalize on that. But like if someone's, celebrity A and celebrity B get together, both of their management teams and their people and stuff are going to be like, all right, how are we going to handle this? Like that is without a question. But I don't think them getting together is set up by companies so much. Okay. Right? Like everyone thought.
Disagree, Brett?
Everyone thought that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce were fake, right?
They might still be.
I mean, it could be, but everyone was kind of saying they would be broken up by now. It was like, oh, blah, 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 the Super Bowl, then by April, they'll be blah, blah, blah. I think that what people are experiencing is just an overdose of cynicism. Mm-hmm. And again, it's not that the business side of it is ignored, but I think that most of the time it's that, oh, we met, we got along, and we started hanging out a little bit. Hey, we hang out enough that we like each other enough where we think it's okay to go public. So because we're both high profile people, they talk to their management. Management probably gets in touch with the other person's management. They talk about collaborations. I'm sure all this stuff goes down like that, but I don't think that it's just made to created.
There's like, what did I point out yesterday? That couple from Once Upon a Time met and got married on set, and they're still married to this day.
Fake PR relationship.
Another lady from the show got married to like somebody that she met on another movie like years before.
I'm sure it happens a lot.
Yeah.
Weird how they never date the crew members though.
No, that's actually not true either. There's actually plenty of them that end up dating like cinematographers. I can't list any off the top of my head. Maybe I'll make a list of that. I've seen that. That does happen. Okay. So they do. They're not marrying like the grip or the.
When is Sydney Sweeney gonna date a gaffer?
But
when is that gonna happen?
But marrying a cinematographer, marrying a director, that happens.
I'm talking like the lower paid crew. Not the director of the movie.
It's called below the line for a
below
reason.
the line workers. Yeah. I've never seen that before. I don't think we will either.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye guys.